Here at Keenan Stadium with Greg Barnes of Inside Carolina. I'm Ross Martin of Inside Carolina, and we are days away from UNC versus Wake Forest at 6 p.m. in Winston-Salem, the third game of UNC's slate here, non-conference game. Greg, initial thoughts on UNC entering this game at 2-0 and with a really good opponent of the Demon Deacons coming up?
Yeah, we knew coming into the season that Wake Forest was going to have a very good offense, which they do. Jamie Newman's a very good athletic quarterback. They got some big wide receivers that'll pose some problems. Defensively, they've been a little bit of a mess early, so you have to think that this is probably the weakest defense that UNC has seen thus far, which should make things easier for Sam Howell in the running game. But this is essentially a conference game. I understand it's a non-conference game technically, but it's going to have that feel. And the Demon Deacons, anytime Carolina goes over there, that's the game they really want to win. Wake is favored, which I'm a little surprised, but I think Mac Brown has talked about using that to his advantage. Any motivation you can use at this point in the season, use it. But I am a little bit surprised that Wake's favored by 3.
And the news on Monday, Patrice Renee, UNC's number 1 corner, is out for the season. Nick Polino, the starting center, is also out, so it poses some stress for UNC's defense and offense, particularly with the tall wide receivers, one being Sage Surratt for Wake Forest. Sam Howell has been a big talking point in the last 2 games with back-to-back fourth-quarter comebacks. You think he can keep it going? What have you seen out of him that really impresses you?
When trailing in the fourth quarter, Sam Howell's 8 for 8 for 139 yards and 3 touchdowns. I don't know that I've seen anything like that from a true freshman. I've brought it up before this week. Phillip Rivers had 2 really incredible comebacks as a true freshman in his first 2 games. That's the kind of class we're talking about here. So I can't say enough about what he's done. You bring up a key point. Nick Polino is a veteran guy. They liked him at center because he is an old player. I mean, he's been around for 5 years. And they liked him being able to work with Howell. But if you saw that Miami game, North Carolina was just clicking the first 3 possessions. Yeah. He gets hurt, and Miami really shut down the run game. And then Carolina got it back late, primarily because they were attacking the edges of that offensive line. They weren't getting a lot up the middle. That's going to be the key for North Carolina, not only Friday, but moving forward. Can Brian Anderson or Ty Murray solidify that center position? Because if you can't, that takes away some of North Carolina's ground game. That puts a lot more pressure on Howell. And
that ground game's been led by Javonte Williams, a sophomore who's had a really great season alongside Michael Carter and Antonio Williams. On defense, we mentioned Patrice Renee. They're going to get Jonathan Smith back at linebacker. Dominic Ross will be available for his second game, mixing in that linebacker group. What have you seen from UNC's defense after 2 games that stands out, and what do you look for them to do against a team like Wake Forest, which has a really good offense, a good quarterback, and some really good wide receivers?
Yeah, it's going to be a matter of getting pressure on Jamie Newman and making sure they don't allow him to get out and run a lot, because this is a Wake Forest offense. Not only do they have, as you said, good athletes at wide receiver, big, tall guys, they run a lot of plays. I mean, this is the offense. I think they ran 100 plays last game out, and that's going to tax that North Carolina defense. Bateman's done a good job keeping his guys off the field, but when we're talking about a game that's going to be very hot because it's a 6 o'clock kick, and when you have to defend that many plays, you've got to get younger guys to play. So I think you will see more freshmen play defensively for North Carolina than maybe they would like. And so just kind of maintaining your angles, maintaining your assignments. If you can do that, you can have success. Wake will capitalize, though, if there's any mistakes. So that's the key thing for the defense.
Yeah, a real veteran coach and a really good coach in Dave Clawson, who's won everywhere he's been. Look for Gregory Ross to step in for Patrice Renee, and Storm Duck, the true freshman, as the third corner for UNC. UNC had another big test on Friday night, 6 p.m. on ESPN against Wake Forest. For Greg Barnes, I'm Ross Martin with Inside Carolina.